Elementary Taijijian, 32 Style Movement Taijijian. Section 2, Movement number 9 and 10. Movement number 9, Empty Stance Lower Intercept. The left foot steps down to the rear left, the right foot then slightly retreats, and the toes touching the ground to form a right empty stance. At the same time, the sword following the body first turns to the left and then to the right, then passing by the front of the body and presses, intercept, downwards to the right, the force exert onto the blade, the tip of the sword pointing down slightly, and at the knee level. The left sword finger circles from the rear left to the top of the left forehead, palm tilted and facing upward. Look forward to the right. Keynotes. The right foot changing into the empty stance and the sword intercepting downward should be well coordinated. If the starting position is facing south, then the direction of this empty stance is facing due east to north, about 30 degrees, the upper body turns right and facing southeast. Teaching cues. When teaching this movement, let the trainees repeatedly practice the technique of the sword following the body turning to the left first and then to the right. The trainees must pay attention to the point of force of the intercepting sword to be at the midsection of the blade. When performing the empty stance, the body's center of gravity is leaned towards the left leg. Movement number 10, Left bow stance thrust. The right foot takes a step back to the right, the left foot retract to the inner side of the right foot, then step forward to the left, forming a left bow stance, facing the left front. At the same time, the sword following the turning of the body, passing by the front of the face, retract to the back, then thrust forward to the left, the right palm facing upwards, the force exerts through the tip of the sword, the left sword fingers moves to the right, lowers and passes by the front of the body, then circles to the left and upwards to the top of the left forehead, with the palm facing slightly upwards, the left arm should be rounded. Look towards the tip of the sword. Keynotes. When withdrawing the right hand, the forearm is turned outwards first and then inwards, the palm turns outwards first, then downwards, and then upwards, and thrust the sword from the right waist. When the left sword finger moves in a circular path, it should first land on the right wrist and then move away towards to above the head. The direction of the bow stance is due east to north, about 30 degrees. Teaching cues. Let the trainees to repeatedly practice the movements of retreating the right foot and raising the right hand, so as to maintain the center of gravity of the body stable. Remind the trainees to pay attention to the movements of turning the waist, and the external rotation and internal rotation of the right hand should be well coordinated and integrated.